Hello, Graham. Hello, Steve.
Hello, both of you too. So, Steve, I already talked to Gail, and she already knew Jim is sick and out of commission, and I offered to do the minutes for him, but then around 3 o'clock I went out in the yard to do some yard work. I picked up a bucket of gravel, leaned over sideways and totally tweaked my back. So I'm good for sitting here for half an hour if we make it a half-hour meeting. I could, yeah, if it was a half-hour meeting, I could still do the minutes, I reckon. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, take care of your shoulder. We need to do a kind of an abbreviated meeting anyway because we ran out of meetings spots.
Oh,
Grace let me know, and we've exceeded our Zoom allotment so either way we have to end a little bit after 6 so that the conservation committee can take this spot. So we were going to do a kind of faster meeting anyway, so stay as long as you're comfortable and finish, obviously, because Jim is out as well. We want to have quorum, so there's not a whole lot else we can do if you leave as well. So we'll get through what we can. Let me just take a quick look at the agenda and rearrange things so that we front load the really important things in case we run out of time. Okay.
you bet.
And yeah, I can put the minutes together afterwards. I won't try to do both at once. I'll just do it retrospectively.
Okay, yeah. And
afterwards.
we will approve the minutes because you're
what's Jim's from?
Yeah, well, I figured HIPAA secrecy or whatever, but he's laid up. He'd probably love to hear from you, but he might not answer his phone. But he's been laid up since Friday, so I think no secret to say vertigo, and it's not COVID as far as anyone knows. So it's just yeah. What. Yeah, Gail, you've got a very old aging out committee here.
Yeah,
I know, guys. Pull it together. Pull it together. I need
two entries.
I mean, seriously, this is something I have thought about and mentioned earlier that we've got the MLP is 3 guys in their 70s. We maybe like, long-term sustainability do want to think about this.
Yeah. I was reading that the review of I won't get distracted, but yeah, it's definitely they don't like it with businesses that have old people who might fall apart. Yeah.
And I've been having to go to chiropractor and physical therapy because also I'm at the age when things are happening. So
yeah.
The
back stuff happens to me every 2 years. So ibuprofen usually gets me to the next thing. But yeah, I recommend the physical therapy that they will give you if you don't already know that really works. It's amazing. I've gone through it a few times now. So okay. Just let me say the good news from Gal gave me a dig safe to check out at the Pratt Corner Road substation. The National Grid were want to replace some of the wooden poles that take the high voltage power down into the switchyard, and so I got in touch with Crown Castle to find out where. I saw that no one had marked anything on the ground, which and the dig safe said it was being done very soon. So anyhow, Crown Castle got back to me eventually and said, "Oh, we don't have anything in the ground, fiber-wise." And I sent that person a picture of their fiber going into the ground on that site. So. But in any case, I got onto the National Grid project manager, Gail, just to catch you up. And he got back to me today and said they actually, in an effort to find fiber non-conductive stuff, that's the challenge with the dig safe thing. The non-conductive stuff doesn't give an electromagnetic signal. They did use radar penetrating GPR, ground penetrating radar, to look. And you know, I'd read up a bit about it, and I in fact, he coordinated with me to go there when the guy with the radar was walking to the site, and I showed him some places where the fiber went into the ground. Unfortunately, fiber just looks like sand. That's what it's made of, and so it doesn't always show up on radar either. So, so anyways, this morning he got back to me, the National Grid guy, and said he is gonna get his crowd to hand dig anywhere. Now, it's very likely that our fiber runs near the fiber that goes from the Crown Castle hut out to the road. The vicinity of it is known. He's going to hand dig anywhere in that vicinity. So that's and he seemed very no skin off my back, off my nose to dig, and he doesn't want to hit stuff. So anyhow, there you go.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So that's kind of good news.
I mean, I'm
thank
thinking
you,
also
Graham, for chasing all that down. That is really puts my mind at ease, because that is a main feed for us. Yes, we have fiber, but I don't want that to go out.
Yeah, and I also told him Verizon fiber runs exactly along the same thing to the road, because I can see it going up the pole. So he knows that it's not just Shutesbury, but it's the Verizon regional stuff as well. So yeah.
I mean, I am thinking about how careful National Grid was with the pole in front of the town hall, that and their contractor knew, clearly been told by National Grid, be really careful here. Don't put your auger in to drill a new pole hole, pull the old one and use the existing hole. So they do seem to be paying attention to that, which is good.
Yeah, I'd asked them about that, why they were doing that, and it was because they were told to. Wherever poles had risers on them, because otherwise you end up with a riser sticking over here, and so it's impossible to take away the old pole for a long time.
But that's curious that Crown Castle thought all of their fiber was aerial.
It made no sense at all. And they sent me a picture. They sent me a picture. They said only third-party fiber is in the ground there, which was, they were trying to. So anyhow, they were wrong on both counts.
Of course, it wasn't installed or initially owned by them.
Oh, Light Tower, I guess. Was it Light Tower then?
It was Light Tower, but it would originally have been.
I'm slowing up our meeting here. But anyhow, it's good news. That's we won't get knocked out by
Okay. Let me just change my.
Steve, I'd be happy to talk more on the phone at some point or other too, because it was an interesting little 2 weeks of tracing people around.
Okay.
All right.
Let me just plug in my headphones here.
Okay. I forgot to say my little spiel at the beginning of the meeting, so I'm going to say it now. So welcome to the November 15th meeting of the MLP and Broadband Committee. I am Gail Huntress, MLP manager facilitating this meeting. This meeting is fully remote. Participating remotely, we have Stephen Schmidt and Graham Sefton. Jim Hemingway, third board member, is not available tonight, but we do have quorum with these two members. So we will proceed. First order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from October 18th as amended.
I'm so moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Sefton?
Aye.
And Schmidt?
Aye.
There we go. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna front load this. So anything that's not important and we don't get to, we'll just kick off to the next meeting. The biggest thing I have to talk about tonight is the pole moves on Leverett Road, Wendell Road, Locks Pond Road, and Lakeview Road. It is about 5.5 miles of pole moves due to the upgrades. I knew that this was going to be expensive, didn't know how expensive it was going to be. So I just got the first bill last week for the Leverett Road section, which is 1.5 miles, and it's about $20,000.
Wow, man.
8,000 of that, a little bit over 8,000 was flaggers.
Yeah.
It adds so much. So,
Yeah.
So I estimated, if you do out the math on that, it's about 13,500 per mile. You do out that math, and so we should plan on another 60,000 for the remaining 4.5 miles. However, I called Sheldon. I said, can we expect a similar thing? And Bobby said, I'm sorry, that section is actually more complicated than the Leverett Road section.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's apparently it's a tension issue, and they're just going to have to be doing tons of slack management. It's going to slow them down, so more labor hours, and then having to do some weird stuff with crossbars so that they don't have to like splice fiber and put it in. So that's all the bad news. But Bobby said he would be very surprised if the next section went over 75 grand. Okay. But that means, all told, we might be looking at a total move bill of $95,000 for this.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank goodness we have plenty of money. Don't panic. We're fine. We're fine. It's one of these unexpected things. We didn't, we knew that this was going to happen. I did not think it was going to be this much, but there's no way that we can, really reduce these costs. It's just costs what it costs.
Yeah.
I flashed on something the other day and was going to email out and then didn't. Now I know we're on a tight schedule, so maybe we want to talk further about this some other time. But Jim mentioned a while ago that, National Grid got all this, I don't know if it's state money or federal money to do this work. And then I heard the National Grid guy at one point, who was gone to the select board for a whole hearing. Yeah, they need to get this job done by the end of the year to get the money from the state. Okay, so there's money out there for them to do this project. Shouldn't we be reimbursed for our costs, since our costs are a direct result of this? It's not incidental. I mean, it's direct. We have to do this as part of this. Could we attempt to tap into that same funding source that's paying National Grid to do this for our costs?
Great idea. Yeah, I think ask.
It would be great. I don't even know where to start with that. I'm open to suggestions. I have no idea where even to start.
It would be probably state upgrade money of the so the Department of Utilities would know about it. Department of Public Utilities, cable. They call themselves something else now.
Well, there's DPU, Department of Public Utilities, and then there's Department of Cable and Telecommunications. But it's probably DPU because they're the people that control the power lines.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe our state reps, and is it Natalie Blay and Joan Comerford, their staff, seems like they're sharp people on knowing, oh, this is who you really need to contact. This is who you need to talk to.
Aaron, our rep, Aaron and Joe.
It's that's right. It's Aaron. Yeah,
Aaron. Yeah, that would absolutely be the best first question, because they really do want to help us, and $100,000. The upgrade is a political thing in a way. I mean, it's state money. They're responsible for it. They can I mean, I suspect it's federal.
I suspect it's federal money, but it's given to the states to disperse. It's the whatever they call all those different acts that were passed there.
Block grants or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, I will.
Jim might know something. Jim was the one who first mentioned all this, so he might know something. I don't know, but I would think
if it's all it's all at the state level. So why don't I start with Aaron Saunders' office? and see where we
There,
get.
that guy just loves to help towns in that way. So yeah, he would do the footwork. It's
Yeah.
it's their infrastructure. I mean, it's their
Yeah.
state DPU. So
In the meantime, we still have to pay for this.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
So-
No.
So here's what I propose.
Yeah.
I have one bill I've gotten so far for a little over $20,282. This is for that first Leverett Road section. So what I'd like to do is pay this first tranche using our regular maintenance funds. We have a little just shy of $50,000 still left in that fund. So we've only used about 10 grand of our $60,000 budget for other maintenance things. That includes like the hut battery replacements and everything else. So we're good. We're doing really well, and we only have about 6 months of the year left. Well, 7 months. So that if we pay the 20,000, it'll still leave about 30,000 in our regular maintenance budget to get us through the end of the year. And then for this second tranche, that might be close to 75,000, that we just pay the whole thing using our emergency fund that is currently at 73,459. And it's unencumbered. We don't have to go to town meeting vote for it. It will effectively drain our our emergency fund, but I don't see any other big expenses coming down the road. If we get another big storm, a huge one, right? We can rely on insurance, 10,000. And still that's only going to use up a third of our maintenance budget. So it might be kind of tight. Steve, one question I have for you is, I think that I don't believe that we're going to go over budget at the end of the year. We're still going to have a surplus. And how does it work with kind of overall budget if like our maintenance budget goes 5,000 over, but our, I don't know, pole rental or something does it matter?
No.
No,
The short answer is no.
Okay. Great.
We just tell Gail Weiss, pay this maintenance budget out of the pole rental account, because there's money in the pole rental account and there isn't money in the maintenance account. And
there's probably a lot of money still in the pole rental account, right?
Well,
there
not
is
anymore, because
unfortunately we got that first
National Grid caught up with us. But any account that has a surplus in it, you can use to pay something else. You just need to let Gail Weiss know, so that she keeps it straight on the books.
Okay. All right.
And we've got the 138,000 there.
136,943. So we can town meeting vote that if it gets bad.
Yeah.
We will have to have an emergency town meeting to have that happen, but it's there if we need it.
Yeah, unless the town is, you might want to keep an ear out that if the town select board are having a special town meeting for any reason anyway, let's get on.
Oh, good point.
Get on that agenda.
Good point.
And move that money into our emergency reserve right now. And
great idea. Okay, well, let me reach.
I haven't heard that there's any plan for that, but
I've heard nothing on special town meetings.
No. But we all could miss that. Jim Hemingway won't.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll sit on this till he's feeling better, and then I'll reach out and say if there's any, and I'll give him a summary of what's happening, and so he can be our eyes and ears for that, because by the time the three of us hear about it, it may have already been scheduled and be too late, but he'll hear about it
Although
way in
I'm
advance.
on the mailing list for select board agenda announcements.
Oh,
So,
great. Okay.
so
All right.
I'll keep an eye
Thanks. Yeah.
out on anything there.
Mhm. But in the meantime, is the plan is how I'm using the money? Does this make sense to pay this first small bill using regular maintenance, and then the next big bill
Yeah.
using?
If it wasn't so much, I'd say, well, why don't we just take it all out of the emergency reserve? But if you think we're going to go over in that, then what you're proposing sounds great. So sure.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I'm trying to use it smartly, and also a way that is going to be easy to keep track of the accounting for it, and not start, when you start splitting bills, like pay half of this out of this, and it just it gets really hard to track, honestly. Okay. Great. Well, that was kind of my big order of business tonight, of just letting you know what's happening and how we were gonna pay for it. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through the rest of the stuff here. All right, nothing urgent or anything we need to make a decision on, except for just a quick discussion about routers. So we have 6 of them in inventory. And I see you laugh, Steve. Ha ha, quick discussion about routers. Never said no one
What's that,
ever.
an oxymoron, right?
Yeah.
So six Linksys in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're kind of being discontinued, they're coming down in price. Originally they were like 90, now we can get them for like 50 or 60. So the rate at which we use these up is not high, but we need to have a plan in place for when we get down to like 2 or 3 of them. And so do we keep populating with the same model, or do we bump it up and start buying the 7500s, which is like the next tier of this same model, to replace, as for new installations and for any failures.
So when you say that they're being discontinued, so therefore the prices come down, this is the actual model that we've got out in the field. Not okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. So the new model, what are those running for?
135. So a little more than double.
How about give us a chance to look at what the Linksys 7500 is exactly. I mean, it's probably not Wi-Fi 6, right, at a guess, but I don't know. So there'd be a few things I'd like to look at in that, and maybe we'll decide what to do next month in regard to Linksys. How about?
Okay. Yeah, I think we should probably talk about this in relation to like router fails and manage routers. I did do a first pass looking at all of the tickets that had the word router in them for the last 2 years. It was so boring.
Yeah.
And so there's about 120 something tickets from that included those 2 terms. And so I read each one, and I marked off which ones were an actual router fail, so we can kind of get a trend line on that. And then also which of those cases likely would have been helped with a managed router, a better customer experience. Almost every single ticket, the agent says, there's a signal going to your house, reset the router and call us back if it's still a problem. Almost every single one.
Some people would stop calling for that one, wouldn't they? So.
the good news is that really does resolve a lot of the problems. The bad news is it's really hard for some people. And when, if you had a password and you do a hard reset, and then, you had a password before and you don't know how to do the reset, like people just can't do it. And so, the agents struggle through and they get them there. But yeah, it's not the best
Yeah.
customer experience.
Yeah. And the benefit, Steve, you might realize the benefit of the managed router is they can do that for you, and they can also set, if you want to have, you want to call the SSID your dog's name, or whatever your favorite whatever, they would do all that for you. So so it does take that part of it out of the thing. I was wrong about last week. I thought when Jim Hemingway took a spare router with him to the customer, it turned out that he hadn't had to. He pressed reset, and that was sufficient to Diane Jacoby's thing. I thought it was replaced, but it wasn't. It was just a reset. So. And I asked her if that had solved the problem, and problems period, and it had, though reinstalling all of the programs that were in the router, like turning it off at nighttime, has not, she's got to go back and do that herself. So
yeah, so in my initial pass here, I found 3 instances of a shelled replaced router but I found many more instances of people calling with router problems and Shelled saying, well, it might be your router, you may want to replace it.
oh yeah, that's that. They really and Crocker, they knew that was the right answer, and so
yeah. So and we don't after that recommendation is made, we don't know what happened. And with that customer, we know that the recommendation was made, but we don't know if they actually did it. And
I remember
was that
someone
early
telling
on
me,
with Shelled?
No, it's still happening.
Okay.
It's still happening. If people complain about speed issues, Wi-Fi calling issues, that it's kind of like the signal's getting to your house. We've helped you all that we can. You may want to get a different router and see if that helps it.
And someone told me that they had gone out and bought a good router after that, a fancy router after their problem. So yeah, it definitely happens. Now, some people could just, some of the problems would just take a mesh extension. I mean, the different, there are so many things that can not be working out there, as we well know, and not worth talking about. But yeah, I think as we get older, the average age of Shutesbury is going up. I think it's definitely offering the option of a managed router is something that I hope we decide to do. And I guess, Gail, if you could ask Shelled, obviously we're not going to do it in a season where we've spent all our spare money, but at least just ask them, what is the monthly additional cost that we would have to pay if we were offering that option and people exercised that option. And the two ways that I can imagine exercising that option is just getting the U6 router dropped to my house, and there's a YouTube that tells you how to do it, and you download an app if you're able to do that, or got a relative who does, and if you don't, then it would be phone up, time and materials from Shell. I don't know, to talk to them to do the installation just over the phone, So anyhow, if you can find out what that sort of situation would cost as a monthly and as an initial cost.
Yeah, like I can already tell you the monthly. It's $2.38.
There's no markup that they have to add or that they do add for that $2.38. They don't.
Nope,
Yeah,
nope,
no.
because it's coming directly from
Yeah.
Calyx. So Calyx is charging $1.50 a month per subscriber for their support cloud
Yeah.
software usage, and then it's another 88 cents for the Command IQ app.
Okay.
So it's and Calyx has no interface with the customers, so all the support still comes from Sheldon Integrity. So it's a licensing fees to use their software. There's no support
Okay.
offered. So 238, and just I would I don't know what the guarantee of the long-term pricing is on that, but I just round up to $2.50 per subscriber per month.
Yeah.
Another way I realized that we could possibly offer this is to say something like, if you want to pay $7 a month for something like enhanced service, and that a Shutesbury subscriber could do that, and that $2.50 is going to go to the monthly stuff, but then the rest is what most internet providers do, which is a rental fee.
Yeah. I would pay that in a heartbeat. I like what I've got. I feel bad that I'm not paying the on the experimental use of the U6. I feel like I owe someone $2.50 extra a month, but
you're making up for it in volunteer hours. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about
that. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think that's a good way to proceed. And there could be just to slow the rush. One could maybe make some sort of nominal charge, $50 or whatever on the outset. Just so, but yeah, $7 a month, that would pay it down for sure. So.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is that that way we don't have to outlay any well, we would have to outlay capital costs for the new routers, but we could dip into our depreciation fund for that to front load it and then get paid back over time. That depreciation fund would be populated again by this extra $4.50 per subscriber per month that we would pull in MLP fees.
I love that idea, and like I say, I looked at the YouTube. They said download the Command IQ app, and then just follow the steps on the Command IQ app. A lot of households would have someone in the house who has a smartphone who can download an app, and so I think that the install is actually with the Command IQ app, especially. The install is pretty trivial, and if there was someone, if there were a few people who couldn't do it, I certainly would do a couple a week. I'm so enthusiastic about it. I'd do 5 a week.
Wow.
for 6 months. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah. I also wonder if we can somehow put this into our digital equity planning. I've been we were well, here I can talk about this too. I probably should. We've been pre-approved by MBI.
Yeah, I saw that.
For the use of a digital equity consultant. So there's 3 firms that have been pre-approved by them for us to use. So I've interviewed one so far. I have another interview tomorrow, and then FERCOG is the 3rd one. And so I talked to FERCOG, but it was more of a casual conversation because I know them already. But we're in a kind of a different position than a lot of towns, because I know exactly what we want, and the thing that MBI is paying for is a plan, and we already have the plan. I just need help with the execution, but we can't have access to the execution money until the plan is kind of vetted through one of these firms. So
the way to pitch it, I reckon, would be, they're more likely to go for a capital cost as opposed to an operational cost, and the capital cost would be upgrading a bunch of routers for people, especially for people either means tested, or just age, you know, or just people who needed more, you know, a friendlier, the ability to call up and say, hey, my health app is not working, you know, to the ISP, you know, what's wrong with it, and they can look at it and tell you, you know. So
yeah, I think some, you know, it only dawned on me recently that we need to ask more specific questions when we go out to survey with, you know, during our the information gathering part. We can't just say like, are you happy with your service? Like, you know, do you feel comfortable using the technology? We have to ask targeted questions such as, do you feel able to change your password on your router? Right? Because I think 90% of the people in town are going to say, what are you talking about? No. Which is a big indication that we need device level support, which can only be offered really through these managed routers.
That's a good point. A survey would do it, and you could have you could have a few questions, couldn't you? Things that that give, that's a great idea.
Yeah, like really specifically get to the heart of where the technology knowledge gaps are, so that we can prove out that this really is a problem. Yes, we do need managed routers, and yes, we need help paying for it.
People's sense of security as well, and also people's concern for their children. Both of those things in the managed router are very much easier to do. The firewall part of a managed router is a significant enhancement to protect us all. You know, I think I said in an email, I don't know whether anyone read it, but the UMass, we had thousands of managed routers, and you know, it just made it so much more straightforward as a system. So at us as a municipal level, to have the whole thing safer is a benefit. And if the whole thing is safer, then the individual level is safer as well. And I know that HGE does firewall stuff, but there's the more layers and the different levels of that there's benefits, and it's going to get better as well as artificial intelligence starts to recognize patterns of problems. So
yeah. Okay, so I'll keep you posted on that. It's the one firm that I talked to about a week and a half ago is they were huge, a 5,000 person consulting firm.
whoa.
Yeah, I asked them, like four people showed up on the call, and I was like, how many people are in your company? And they're like, oh, 5,000, we're worldwide.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you know, they do a lot of the company I talked to does a lot of municipal work in the transportation sector. I wasn't huge, and I'm not going to say their name out loud, but I was not wowed by them because they have no experience in the rural broadband space. They do have experience in transportation. There are some parallels there. But yeah, I don't and you know, they have done some pseudo rural deployment things, but not really doing this exact thing of
and they're not necessarily just based in Massachusetts, are they? So they're
not, you know, no, they have one office. A lot of the people were out of they're all over the place.
So their experience would be very wide, but very general.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna talk to the other ones and have another chat with FERCog about their capacity here. the one thing that concerns me about choosing FERCog is they're working with a lot of other towns. Do they have enough person power to get what we need done soon?
Yeah, you could ask them that, whether they're able to hire extra people if they've got, extra, if they're loaded up with this stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted on that. And last thing, is, our next meeting, I'm gonna be on an airplane. So
Cool.
Does
during
it have
this,
Wi-Fi?
I don't know, it's an international flight, so
They'll charge
Ooh.
you extra. They'll
Yeah.
charge you extra of the bags and the zooming.
Wow. Where are you
Yeah.
going? If we
I'm going to London for Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, my I'm gonna go visit my brother there. So I will be away from the 20th to the 27th.
What fun.
Yeah.
I love London. Oh, I
Yeah.
loved it last time I saw it.
Hopefully it'll be all pretty with the lights. So we can have a meet. So the options we have are just have a holiday break here and reconvene in January, or we could meet on the let's see, the 6th or the 13th.
I can't do either of those.
There you
Okay.
go. Holiday break.
Holiday break, everyone. Yay.
Open the champagne.
Yeah, so we'll have kind of I would think a kind of a large meeting in January, because we're going to need to talk about this router stuff. We're going to need to talk about what happened with the digital equity stuff, and we're going to need to talk about our budget. It's that time of year again.
I'll tell Jim that we were just so discombobulated by losing him that we
can't even. We can't even.
We're done for, yeah. Okay.
Just a quick question about our staffing. Have you heard anything from Craig?
I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned early on, okay, the 3 members of the MLP are guys in their 70s. We've got you, and then, well, we do have Craig, but Craig's a busy guy, so and he hasn't even been able to be at past several meetings, so
we need to go into recruitment, Steve.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, we'll think about that one.
Yeah, we should probably start, and at least one of your terms is going to be up here in
both Steve and I are up next year. We happen
that's
to be,
right. There's
we
two,
pay up.
there's two you at a time. So
Yeah, I'm sure that I will resubmit, but
yeah, I have every intention of continuing on.
Yeah,
good.
But we need just in case I drop dead or you drop dead or forbid. Yeah, we need. Yeah,
and I mean, we can take somebody on the broadband committee, because that committee is now very small. So in fact, at this point, I'm not sure, are we all members of the broadband committees?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're all dual members.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an MLP, but member, but the three of you are dual members of the committee and the the elected board.
This is a both meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we think of somebody or hear of somebody, know of somebody might be interested to work them onto the broadband committee.
Yeah.
And
I think with a general message, I'm sure there are people out there who would feel totally like, they'd like to do something like this, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think when one of if any of you feel like you're ready to cycle out, with 6 months notice, I think if we put something up on Nextdoor and send an announcement saying we're looking for somebody to serve, what I imagine us doing is pulling somebody in a half a year or so before
Yeah.
it's time for those, elections
Mhm.
and seeing who can stick it out that 6 months and
Yeah.
shows up. And then, hopefully they will run when the time comes. So yeah, I think we'll be able to get people when the time comes.
I like being on doing the town job I'm doing because everybody praises me and thanks me for it, as opposed to the job I had before. And
Yes.
Oh, yes.
and it's a great thing to say. People ask me to run for select board. People just
They
ask
love
me.
you. They love you.
People just ask me if I'd be on the planning board. I said,
Mhm.
I'm so busy with the broadband committee. It's my excuse for not doing
It's
something
good
else.
cover. It's good cover, isn't it, Steve?
It
I
is,
like it.
yes.
I like it too.
Yep. And you guys do a lot of side work too. So it's not yeah, it's not made up. And yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I saw Asha on Monday night. I had dinner with her and Barry, and so
Oh,
they
great.
say hello. She's doing great.
Good.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
having fun. She's having fun over there.
She's having a blast. In fact, she's in the middle of starting her own marketing consulting firm,
Wow.
hanging a shingle, and
Yeah.
so
she's doing great.
Yeah. Well,
great. Good for her.
not surprising that she's launching out on her own, business. Yeah. So.
Yep.
I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I did recently see a picture of Henry at his first hockey game.
Wow.
And so yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah. He's loving hockey, and his dad is very happy because I don't know if you know this, Barry played Division I hockey.
Wow,
in
didn't know
college.
that.
Yeah. Yep. And so they're
It's genetic. It's genetic.
Yep. They're a hockey family.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's 5:48. So let's wrap it up for now, and I'll send out a draft of the minutes, and we will reconvene in January. And anything else?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, etc. And yeah, I mean, if it looks like we need to meet before whatever the date would be in January, let us know, and you can schedule.
It's not impossible to do, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll call an extra meeting, and we can double up one of the months if we need to. But the things that feel big, like our budget, actually aren't that big. That we kind of know the drill now. But yeah, I'll keep you posted.
I mean, it just happened. The two things I have on my December calendar happen to be those two Wednesdays. It's not that I'm that busy with things, but it just happened. The 6th and the 13th, I both had things already written in. So
good to have a few things.
it is a few.
A few, not a lot. Not a lot. I managed to pack my calendar with something every single night this week.
Oh, good job.
It's a bit much.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you both.
Yeah, you too.
And I'm sure my back will be better in a few days' time, and I've got a good chiropractor. So,
good. Good. Well,
right.
if you need a physical therapist, I know a great one in Greenfield. Hit me up.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind too. All right. Thanks, Cal.
All right. Take care, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Do we adjourn the meeting?
Oh, yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Done. All right. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Bye.